Hello, welcome to KubeMQ microservices demo. This demo will show how to connect KubeMQ cluster to three essential services: Redis Cache, Postgres database, and Elastic database. We will use KubeMQ connectors to enable access for two types of application. The first one is an application that sends and receives requests to our services and get back responses using the KubeMQ query pattern. The second one will do the same as the first application, but will use KubeMQ as an API gateway to communicate via REST calls to our services, Redis, Postgres, and Elastic. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to check that we have all our services are deployed and works. This is the Redis, the Elastic, and Postgres. We can do kubectl get pods -a. We can see that I have a Postgres running and Redis running. And also if I will do STS as Elastic is deployed as a stateful set, we can see that I have Elasticsearch logging stateful set. Now, the next thing we're going to do is going to deploy KubeMQ cluster and the connectors to the Kubernetes cluster. There's a couple ways to do it, and the best way and the quickest way is to download it from KubeMQ.io website. To do this, we're going to do KubeMQ apply -f https get kubemq.io/deploy. We're going to execute it, and as you can see, it's already deployed and all the components are up and running. We can check it out with our KubeMQ CLI, KubeMQ CTL get C. We can see that I have already cluster, and also I can get con, and you can see that all the connectors are up and running. So after we deploy our components, we're going to add the integration to the services. We're going to do it with the KubeMQ CLI tools. This is the tool that can manage and operate KubeMQ components. KubeMQ CTL is for manager, and we can see that we have get a menu. The first thing we're going to do is to add integration. So we're going to do manage integration. Going to add Redis. The destination is KubeMQ cluster. Targets, we're going to add a target, and we call it Redis. We're going to select the Redis cache and add the Redis URL. Here we're going to choose what kind of source we'd like to use. Here we're going to use the query. This means that we're going to send and receive data from Redis. Channel Redis, and the defaults. Everything is default. And we can see that we have added a Redis one. I will do the same also for both Postgres and Elastic. I'm going to take the Postgres defaults, everything is default, and add Elastic one. Same here. Get the query and going to use Elastic as the channel. And that's it. So If you can see, we have a list of 3 integrations: Elastic, Redis, and Postgres. All of them are using source KubeMQ query for send and receive, and using the Redis, Postgres, Elastic channel as a listening source. Now, we're going to test our integration by using an application that I pre-built it. I will going to run this application and explain what this application is doing with the integration. This app going to send and receive requests for the 3 integration for Redis, Postgres, and Elastic. In Redis, we're going to run 3 type of requests: set, get, and delete. In set, we are sending with a random key to Redis data, getting it back, and then deleting this key from Redis. In Postgres, we're going to do 2 type of requests. One is transaction. This means that several queries running one after one. And in this case, we're going to check if a table exists. If not, we're going to create it. And then we're going to insert some data rows inside. And then we're going to do a query to get back results from the inserted rows that we did before in the transaction. In Elastic, we're going to do 6 requests. The first 3 are managing indexes. First thing, we're going to check if the log index exists in the Elastic database. If it exists, we're going to delete it and then recreate this log index. And later on, we're going to do set, get, delete documents for the Elasticsearch. We're going to set and save a document to Elastic, get it back, and do a delete for this document. To summarize, this application is simulating the request and response that we can do with the 3 integration that we created before: the Redis, the Postgres, and the Elastic integration. Now we would like to add a source to our setup. In this case, we're going to add an HTTP source. An HTTP source allows other services that can communicate with HTTP REST request and communicate with Redis, Elastic, and Postgres. We're going to add integration. This time, we're going to add a source integration. We're going to call it HTTP. We're going to use post method, and I'm going to use a dynamic mapping of HTTP requests. This means that every request will forward to a specific channel in KubeMQ. I'm going to use dynamic mapping, and here I'm going to put query also and set also to dynamic and set everything. Here we have a new integration, HTTP, that is listening to HTTP request in port 8080 and sending all the data to KubeMQ query target. In order to test this integration, we did the same as we did with the application before, that sending directly data to KubeMQ query channel. Here we're going to use HTTP, and now since we have a source integration that listens to HTTP requests in port 8080, we're going to send and receive the same request that we did with the application, but this time we're going to forward it to HTTP source at port 8080. So let's run it. Here we can see that we did the same request, but now we send it to web service at the address localhost 8080/redis. I must say that I did a port forward to this connector, the KubeMQ sources, in order to connect. And for Redis, we did the set, get, and delete. And for Postgres, we did the same with transaction, query. And with The Elastic, we did the same with the indexes and the set, get, and delete. This concludes our demo. If you would like to try KubeMQ, please visit us at kubemq.io/quickstart. Thank you for watching. See you at the next demo.